Hey everyone, my name is Evan Tarakjian, and today I'm starting a new series called Roll 1. Roll 1 is basically a review slash first impressions video of different cameras that I've picked up over the past year, and it might actually force me to use the cameras that I've purchased because a lot of them just kind of sit on the shelf just because I found a good deal online for that camera in particular. So this might be a good way for me to actually use the cameras instead of them just collecting dust. I might also sprinkle in some interesting film stocks for this series. I have some expired film that I have yet to use, and there are just a ton of other film stocks that I haven't used yet, so I think it'll be really interesting to see what they look like, what kind of results I get, and include them in this series. So the first camera on the Roll 1 series is this guy. This is the Yashica Electro 35 GT. Now, the Yashica Electro 35 came in many different variations. So this is the GT. There are earlier versions of this camera, but they only come in the chrome finish. But I was missing a 35mm rangefinder in my collection, and I heard a lot about this camera online, and I figured I'd pick it up. So I actually got this camera on eBay for around, I think it was 150 bucks. Essentially, it's an aperture priority 35mm rangefinder, which I'm kind of used to because I love shooting aperture priority. I do not really love the meter in this camera. Basically, there's two arrows on either side, and it'll tell you if you're underexposed or if you're overexposed. But it's quite sluggish, and it's just not really nice to use. This is kind of like a casual bring everywhere camera for me, but yeah, I've been loving it. This camera did not come with battery. When I purchased it off eBay, I had some button cell batteries lying around, so I decided to MacGyver something pretty interesting, and it seems to work. I think it's a win. So one thing that I really love about this camera is how quiet the shutter is. It has a leaf shutter. I'll show you what it sounds like. That's it. One thing to keep in mind about this camera is the form factor. Now, it's pretty big when compared to something like the Minolta Himatic 7S2, which is a 35mm rangefinder, or even comparing it to the Voigtlander Bessa 2 6x9 medium format camera, which is also a rangefinder camera. So this kind of falls in between those two sizes. Another reason why I picked this camera up was because of the lens. I heard a lot of great things about this lens, particularly it being really sharp. It's a 45mm f1.7, so it's quite fast. First roll of film that I shot on the Yashica Electro 35 GT was Kodak Ultramax 400. And I love this film stock. I bought a 10-pack off Amazon. I wanted something that, didn't break the bank every time I wanted to take some film photos. So you'll see that the photos that did come out, they came out super crisp, super clean, and I love them. But in lower light situations, they did not come out at all. A lot of them are very underexposed, and the color casts are pretty nasty. But I'm gonna show you full transparency on Roll 1. I'm not a perfect photographer, and maybe it's because of the meter, maybe it's because of user error, but yeah, let's go in and check them out. Alright, so we're on the computer. We're going to take a look at some of the shots that I was able to capture with the Yashica Electro 35 GT. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. Here is the first photo. This photo is of my girlfriend Katie. As you can see, there is quite an apparent green cast on this photo, and that's just simply because it was heavily underexposed. I really do love the look and the feel of this photo. Her eye, just her one single eye, just staring directly into the lens. It's just, I really love the shot. So I was able to correct it in Lightroom to something that pleased me a little bit more and got rid of that nasty green color cast. So this is what that looks like with the correction. And for me, it's something a little bit more pleasing. It's a little more accurate in terms of color. But with that correction, and because it was heavily underexposed, it introduces a lot of grain, so it's not super sharp, but still a photo that I really like. Moving on, and you're gonna see a lot of photos of my dog Charlie here. Whenever I get a new camera, I usually test it out on him before doing any other tests, but he's cute, so it's okay. So yeah, we're in a park here. I just love the expression of Charlie's face in this photo. Just a girl and her dog here in the park. The greens really turned out nice. The orange of the bench as well. Yeah, super nice shot. Moving on, little rolly computer chair sitting next to the door here in the back of the building. Because there was a lot of shadow behind the building and a lot of highlights in the foreground, I thought it would be a nice test to see how the meter worked in this situation. And it worked out pretty well. The highlights a little bit blown out, but it did a pretty good job. I was able to correct it a little bit. It's actually a lot worse than this. I don't like to mess around with my photos too much, but when they are super blown out and if I can save them, I will try. So, but I do like this photo. You know, a nice little relaxing spot in the back of the building here. Here's another photo. This was during the peak COVID period where nobody was on the street, nobody was in the parking lots. So this is a parking lot that's completely empty. I decided to put a lot of negative space in the foreground to kind of emphasize that emptiness. I love the cones stacked up there on the kiosk in the middle. I love the rendition of the blue in the sky and the reflection in the building in the background. Really love just capturing the emptiness of this scene, and I think I did a pretty good job. Moving on, so here's another example of the photo being a little underexposed. As you can see, this introduces a lot of grain in the shadows. Again, there is a little bit of a color cast, so I was able to correct it again to something that I like more. So yeah, it brought down those shadows and those blacks, and kind of really focused on that highlight on the right side of his face. But I love this little sleepy boy. As you can see already, there's a lot of photos of Charlie. I like to test a lot of my cameras that I get on my dog and on my girlfriend. But yeah, moving on, we'll have another photo of Charlie. This is him in the same bed, being a little bit of a derp. Super cute, taking a little nap with his little paws up in the air. But yeah, this photo is really sharp too. A good example of a good quality photo from this camera. I love the quality of this shot, just the texture of his fur, and the colors, really nice. Another photo of Charlie, there's a little paws up here on the window. He's super cute. Him looking at something, I don't know what he's looking at. He's probably gonna bark at it soon. But this is in the Old Port of Montreal. Yeah, just a great shot. This is a fun one. Here's a shot that I really love. Just capturing this older gentleman working on his home. I love his jacket that he placed there on the railing. Yeah, just he's out there on a weekend working on something, fixing something up. So I think I captured something pretty nice here. Really love this photo. I really love this photo. I posted this one on my Instagram because I loved it so much. The blue in the sky, the layering of the buildings, just how sharp this photo is. I love that the older style building in the background peering up there being that focal point. Really nice, really sharp, and this is like a prime example of the quality of photo that you can get from the Electro 35 GT. Just a great shot. So I don't usually take a lot of photos of cars, but I thought this car was pretty interesting. He had some weird like plastic bags protecting his rims. You know, the cover was half on, half off. Yeah, weird modification for this kind of car. So I thought it was unique and something that I would love to take a photo of. So yeah, I love the red pinstripe and that blue tarp. Just a lot of cool colors in this photo. That's why I decided to take it, and it's pretty nice. I like it. Here's another photo of a pretty interesting home. It's just a lot of different additions to this home. What I love is those prickly bushes in the foreground, but also the detail in that tree on the right-hand side with the green moss. Super sharp. Yeah, I just love everything that's going on here. It's a little chaotic, but also just complete in a way. The greens are really nice. Just a lot of different, it looks like just like a smorgasbord. Some people just throwing on different things onto this home. And I thought it was interesting, so that's why I took this photo. I do like this photo. I thought this house was interesting just because of the excessive amount of windows at the bottom there. But the main reason I took this was that tree casting a shadow on the white face of this home. Yeah, and I thought it was just interesting. I love taking photos of interesting shadows. And then you have that little rocking chair there on the side of the house as well. Now this shot I really love as well. Just a woman taking a stroll in a park. Again, the greens really are nice in this photo. I posted this one too, really liked it. I was able to, stop her mid-stride and, just a brisk walk on a weekend. And I do also love the shadows being cast by the trees here in the foreground. Yeah, great shot. So those are all the photos I have to show you today. I used a 24 exposure roll of Kodak Ultramax 400. Obviously I didn't show you 24 frames, but that's because some of them didn't come out at all. Some of them were just extremely out of focus, or I took a random shot that didn't really provide any value to you. But I hope that these shots, will help you decide whether or not you want to pick up the Yashica Electro 35 in any variation of that camera. It is a great camera, like I said. The meter is a little finicky, a little clunky, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, a great little camera, great camera to use as an everyday carry, I believe. And the shots you can see are very sharp when the exposure is correct. So yeah, if you want to see more of my photos, you can check me out on Instagram at evtarak. I'll leave that link in the description. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the first episode of Roll 1. There will be more of these episodes. I have a lot of cameras that I need to review and go out and shoot with, so I'm really excited for those future episodes. All right, have a good one, everyone.